What's happening, guys? Cooper Carter here for G66, and on this week's Fractal Friday, I'm answering the extremely popular question, how do I assign both a whammy and a wah pedal sound to just one expression pedal within one preset? But instead of the popular method of assigning each of these discrete sounds to their own scene, instead, I'm going to show you a neat trick that'll allow us to access either sound at will across scene changes. Last year in 2023, I kicked off season 2 of Fractal Friday by showing you guys how to dial in the perfect whammy pedal tone. So I thought it only fitting that we kick off season 3 here with another whammy involved video. And by happenstance, several students in my masterclass emailed me over the last couple weeks with questions about combining a whammy pedal and a wah pedal into one expression pedal and the details on that. So I thought this would be a great kickoff video. Now, of course, this is just one small video, but if you guys want to get the absolute most out of your Fractal Audio Systems unit, whether that's the Aspx 3, the FM9, or the FM3, make sure to visit classes.coopercarter.com for my complete Fractal Audio Masterclass series. Many of you may be in the position of just having one Fractal Audio EV1 expression pedal, or maybe you do have two, but you use a whammy effect so seldomly that it doesn't make a lot of sense to bring two pedals to a gig just for the whammy being used maybe once a set. You use the wah pedal a lot though, so you want to combine both effects into the one pedal. So I have a preset here built around the Friedman HBE V1 and absolutely rip an amp. And I have a wah pedal set up and a pitch block as well, set to classic whammy. I have these in parallel right now. The reason for that will become clear very quickly, but each of these is set to be controlled by the same expression pedal, my EV1 that is plugged into FC1 pedal 1, or the pedal 1 jack on my FC12 foot controller. Now, of course, if you were plugged directly into your unit on an Aspx 3 or an FM9 or an FM3 that didn't have an FC unit attached, you could go ahead and set this to either external 1 or pedal 1 or pedal 2, etc. So I have FC1 pedal 1 controlling this wah. It uses an auto engage set to medium speed so that as soon as I move the pedal, the wah turns on. So I'll move the pedal and the wah turns on. I move it down to the bottom and it switches back off. Similarly, with this pitch block set to classic whammy, 1 octave up, I've got this control parameter connected to a modifier with the source set again to FC1 pedal 1. I move the pedal up, I move the pedal down, it goes from bottom to top. Now I'm not using auto engage here because auto engage can sound a bit odd when used with the whammy effect. And if you remember season 2, episode 1 of Fractal Friday, we set up a quote perfect whammy pedal, a technique developed by the brilliant Matt Bacone. So I've attached this same pedal to the bypass state of this whammy effect. And I have FC1 pedal 1 as the source. And I've set up these parameters here for the perfect whammy bypass mode. So I have the minimum set to bypass, the maximum set to engaged. And so the second I move this pedal even just a little bit up, it jumps up so that we have the effect engaged. This is different from the auto engage feature where the off value is 5% at its minimum. So we're moving the pedal 5% before we actually turn on and off that effect. So this is a little bit more natural sounding. The issue here, though, is that of course we have both effects tied to the same pedal. Now, this could be a cool effect and might be what you're going for. We have a mix of the whammy pedal signal and the wah pedal signal. This is not, however, the effect that I am going for. So what we're going to do is add a multiplexer block into this preset. The multiplexer allows us to select between the various inputs that are coming into the block itself. So you want the multiplexer after parallel effects that you have, and you're going to select between those lines. Now we have channels A, B, C, D, E, and F for the multiplexer so that you can select between each of the 6 rows available to you on the grid in the Axe-Fx 3 here. I have the pitch block on row 2. So I am setting the multiplexer channel B to be row 2. I have my wah pedal on row 3. So I'm setting multiplexer channel A to be row 3. So the wah is our primary effect, channel A, and we're using that most of the time in our preset. So now that I have row 3 selected and I play, you see that both the wah and the pitch are actually turning on and indeed still being controlled by the same pedal, but we're only hearing the wah pedal. Let's change to channel B on the multiplexer, or input select row 2. And now we're hearing just the whammy effect. So the traditional way to select between these two effects would be to make this first scene the wah scene, and we would be selecting row 3 through channel A, and then we'd move up to scene 2, and we'd change to channel B and select row 2, or the whammy effect. So wah on scene 1, whammy on scene 2. But the issue there is that then you're limited to these 2 scenes. So let's instead make use of the scene ignore feature in Fractal units. We'll turn on scene ignore for both channel A and channel B. And now our multiplexer is going to ignore scene changes. So let's set it to, let's say, channel B here, and we'll go up to scene 2, and it's still on B. We'll set it to A in scene 2, we'll go down, and it's still on A when we switch to scene 1. So our multiplexer is now ignoring scene changes. What this means is we could now set up some scenes. So let's create a dry rhythm. Let's go to scene 2 and make a wet rhythm. We'll go to scene 3 and we'll call that our lead. And for kicks, we could go to scene 4 and create a clean, select channel B on our amplifier, and go with an amp that is much cleaner. Let's say maybe the CA3 Plus clean. Do a little tone adjustment here. And now we have a clean scene as well. So let's go back to scene 1 and test out our multiplexer. So we've selected row 3, channel A, which is our wah. We'll switch up to scene 2. And we have wah pedal across all 4 scenes. Let's change our multiplexer channel to B. We should have the whammy. So whichever effect we choose, we can use it across our scenes at will. The last step then is simply to create a foot switch for our multiplexer that allows us to turn on the whammy, which would be the effect we're using a good bit less, and the default state of our switch would be to have the wah available when we move our pedal. I've gone ahead and created that button on my main effects page on my FC12 by going to Category Effect, Function, Channel Toggle, selecting the multiplexer 1 as the effect. And finally, I've set our primary channel to be B and our secondary channel to be A. That way, when the ring light is off, we are selecting channel A or our wah pedal, which we want accessible most of the time. Then when I step on the switch, the ring light lights, activating our whammy pedal, the light indicating that the whammy is indeed active. So our primary channel is channel B, or in the multiplexer, row 2, our pitch effect. So now we have, in effect, an instant access switch for our whammy effect, but it is in fact switching between channels A and B on our multiplexer. The wah and the whammy attached to one expression pedal with each effect accessible across all 8 scenes in your preset, independent of the settings in those scenes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please do make sure to give it a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to G66's channel if you haven't already done that. And leave me a comment in the comment section below, letting me know what you would like to see on this year's episodes of Fractal Friday. I will be spending a lot of time this year on the road with Fractal's artists working on their tones. So that means 2 things. 1, I may not be uploading a Fractal Friday every week this year, but 2, many of the episodes that I will be uploading are going to be very, very special, and I'm looking forward to sharing those with you guys. As always, if you guys want to get the absolute most out of your Fractal Audio Systems unit, whether that's the Axe-Fx 3, the FM9, or the FM3, make sure to visit classes.coopercarter.com for my complete Fractal Audio Masterclass series. And for all things Fractal Audio, keep it right here on G66, and I will see you guys very soon on Fractal Friday.